ExamPrep.School, Rhode Island Public Insurance Adjuster Exam, exam code InsRI-PubAdj17 or OPPubAdj17. There are 6 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. General Property Insurance Product Knowledge. P&C Policy Provisions and Contract Law or Proof of Loss. Property and Casualty Insurance Terms and Related Concepts. Rhode Island Laws and Regulations. Pertinent to Public Adjusters. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. In Rhode Island, which of the following is a requirement for eligibility to obtain an initial public adjuster license? A. Holding an active public adjuster license in another jurisdiction. B. A minimum of 2 years of claims adjusting experience. C. Completion of a state-approved 40-hour pre-licensing education course. D. Submission of a clean personal credit report. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is C. Rhode Island law mandates completion of a state-approved 40-hour pre-licensing education course before applying. Experience in claims, out-of-state licenses, and credit reports are not statutory prerequisites. Reason A is not correct. There is no reciprocity for holding an out-of-state public adjuster license. Reason B is not correct. Claims adjusting experience is not required for initial licensure under state statute. Reason D is not correct. A personal credit report is not specified as a licensing eligibility requirement. Question 2. When submitting an initial public adjuster license application in Rhode Island, which document must be included to facilitate a required background investigation? A. A personal financial statement. B. Certification of errors and omissions insurance. C. Evidence of affiliation with a licensed insurance agency. D. Fingerprint processing form approved by the state. The correct answer is D. Rhode Island requires a state-approved fingerprint processing form with the initial application to conduct the mandatory background check. E&O certification, agency affiliation, and financial statements are not application prerequisites. Reason A is not correct. A personal financial statement is not a licensing requirement. Reason B is not correct. Errors and omissions insurance certification is not required at the time of initial application. Reason C is not correct. Affiliation with an insurance agency is not mandated for individual public adjuster licensing. Question 3. Under Rhode Island public adjuster licensing regulations, applicants are required to disclose which of the following on their initial application? A. Civil lawsuits related to contractual disputes. B. Felony convictions within the previous 10 years. C. Annulled marriages in the applicant's family. D. Vehicle traffic violations from the past 5 years. The correct answer is B. The licensing regulations explicitly require disclosure of any felony convictions within the prior 10 years. Civil suits, family marital status, and traffic violations are not mandated disclosures. Reason A is not correct. Civil contractual disputes are not a required disclosure for initial licensure. Reason C is not correct. Family annulments are irrelevant to licensing background checks. Reason D is not correct. Minor traffic violations are not required to be disclosed on the initial application. Question 4. Which of the following payment methods is expressly accepted by the Rhode Island Department of Business Regulation for initial public adjuster license fees? A. Prepaid credit card transaction. B. Cash remittance in U.S. currency. C. Certified check payable to the Department of Business Regulation. D. Traveler's checks drawn on a foreign bank. The correct answer is C. The department's regulations allow payment of initial licensure fees by certified check payable to the Department of Business Regulation. Cash, prepaid credit cards, and foreign travelers' checks are not accepted. Reason A is not correct. Prepaid credit card transactions are not permitted for fee payment. Reason B is not correct. Cash remittance is not an accepted payment method for license fees. Reason D is not correct. Travelers' checks from foreign banks are not accepted by the department. Question 5. A licensed Rhode Island public adjuster's biennial renewal was due December the 31st of an odd-numbered year. The licensee submitted a renewal application and statutory late fee 45 days after expiration. According to Rhode Island regulations, which consequence applies to the licensee's late renewal? A. The license remains active upon payment of the late fee, provided renewal occurs within 60 days of expiration. B. The license is suspended until the late renewal is approved and requires cessation of all adjusting activity. C. The license is reinstated retroactively to the day after expiration upon submission of the late fee and application. D. The late renewal is treated as a new application necessitating passage of the adjuster examination before reinstatement. The correct answer is A. Rhode Island regulations allow a 60-day grace period during which submission of the renewal application and late fee keeps the license in active status without requiring re-examination. Reason B is not correct. This choice is incorrect because renewal within the 60-day window does not suspend the license when the late fee is paid. Reason C is not correct. This choice is incorrect because reinstatement is effective upon approval, but not retroactive to the expiration date. Reason D is not correct. This choice is incorrect because a new application and exam are only required if renewal occurs after the 60-day grace period. Question 6. A Rhode Island public adjuster holds the chartered property Casualty Underwriter CPCU designation, which is recognized by the state's Department of Business Regulation. Under Rhode Island's biennial continuing education requirements, how does this professional designation affect the adjuster's CE obligations? A. The designation waives all continuing education requirements for the current cycle. B. It provides a waiver for the required ethics credits but requires completion of the remaining hours. C. It reduces the total CE hours by half, including no ethics requirement. D. It is not recognized by the state, so no reduction in CE hours occurs. The correct answer is A. Holders of the CPCU designation are granted full exemption from the Rhode Island Biennial Continuing Education requirement under the state's designation recognition provision. Reason B is not correct. This choice is incorrect because the designation waives the entire CE requirement, not just ethics credits. Reason C is not correct. This choice is incorrect because the waiver is complete rather than a partial reduction of hours. Reason D is not correct. This choice is incorrect because the state explicitly recognizes the CPCU designation for exemption. Question 7. Under Rhode Island RI. Gender Laws, Section 27-9. Governing unfair claims settlement practices. What is the primary purpose of these rules? A. Establish minimum reserve requirements for insurers. B. Ensure prompt, fair, and equitable settlement of claims. C. Regulate premium rates for property and casualty lines. D. Define insurer solvency and surplus standards. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is based on InsRI Laws, Section 27-9, which directs these rules to protect claimants by ensuring insurers handle claims promptly, fairly, and equitably. Reason A is not correct. Reserve requirements are addressed under financial solvency statutes, not unfair settlement practices. Reason C is not correct. Rate regulation falls under the insurance department's rate-setting authority, not the unfair claims rules. Reason D is not correct. Solvency and surplus are governed by financial condition laws rather than claims settlement practices. Question 8. Under RI, General Laws Section 27-9. 6. Governing unfair claims settlement practices, insurers must acknowledge written communications from claimants within how many calendar days after receipt? A. 10 calendar days. B. 20 calendar days. C. 30 calendar days. D. 15 calendar days. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is taken from Section 27-9, 186, which requires insurers to acknowledge claimant communications in writing no later than 15 calendar days after receiving them. Reason A is not correct. 10 days is shorter than the 15-day requirement specified in the statute. Reason B is not correct. 20 days exceeds the statutory 15-day acknowledgement period. Reason C is not correct. 30 days is longer than the 15-day time frame set by the statute. Question 9. According to RI, General Laws Section 27-9, 1-6. On unfair claims settlement practices, insurers must commence a reasonable investigation of a first-party property claim within how many business days after receiving notice of loss? A. 20 business days. B. 15 business days. C. 30 business days. D. 45 business days. The correct answer is B. The correct answer comes directly from Section 27-9, 6, which demands that insurers begin investigating a claim within 15 business days of receiving loss notice. Reason A is not correct. 20 business days exceeds the 15 business day requirement. Reason C is not correct. 30 business days is longer than the statutory 15-day investigation window. Reason D is not correct. 45 business days greatly exceeds the required investigation start time. Question 10. Under RI, General Laws Section 27-9. 6. Insurers must provide a written settlement offer, acceptance, or denial within how many calendar days after receiving satisfactory proof of loss? A. 45 calendar days. B. 30 calendar days. C. 60 calendar days. D. 15 calendar days. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is drawn from Section 27-9, 1-6, which requires insurers to respond with a settlement offer, acceptance, or denial in writing within 30 calendar days of receiving proof of loss. Reason A is not correct. 45 days exceeds the 30-day statutory response period. Reason C is not correct. 60 days is longer than the required 30 calendar days set by law. Reason D is not correct. 15 days is shorter than the 30-day response window specified in the statute. Question 11. A claimant contacts a licensed public adjuster after discovering water damage. The adjuster tells the claimant that the homeowner policy's personal property coverage will pay for mold remediation, despite the policy's explicit mold exclusion. Which Rhode Island practice has the public adjuster violated? A. Misrepresenting the policy's coverage provisions to the claimant. B. Failing to investigate the claim in good faith. C. Compelling litigation through unreasonably low settlement offers. D. Providing payment without obtaining required documentation. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is misrepresenting the policy's coverage provisions because Rhode Island law expressly prohibits public adjusters from misstating or misrepresenting policy terms or coverage to claimants. Reason B is not correct. This option is incorrect because failing to investigate in good faith relates to investigation duties rather than misrepresentation of coverage terms. Reason C is not correct. This option is incorrect because it addresses coercion through low offers, not misrepresenting what the policy actually covers. Reason D is not correct. This option is incorrect because providing payment without documentation involves claim handling procedures, not misstatements of policy terms. Question 12. A public adjuster submitting an initial settlement for a commercial property claim offers only 25% of the documented loss amount, intending to force the insurer into litigation to secure full payment. Which Rhode Island practice is being violated? A. Coercing litigation through unreasonably low settlement offers. B. Misrepresenting the policy's actual coverage terms. C. Engaging in prohibited rebating by offering unauthorized incentives. D. Failing to acknowledge and act promptly on claimant communications. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is coercing litigation through unreasonably low settlement offers because Rhode Island prohibits public adjusters from using lowball offers to force claimants into litigation. Reason B is not correct. This is incorrect because the issue is about settlement pressure, not misstatement of coverage terms. Reason C is not correct. This is incorrect because rebating involves unauthorized incentives, not the amount of a settlement offer. Reason D is not correct. This is incorrect because failing to acknowledge communications pertains to response requirements, not settlement coercion. Question 13. Which of the following is not required to be included in a contract between a public adjuster and an insured under Rhode Island law? A. The public adjuster's full name and license number. B. A description of the services to be performed. C. The method by which the adjuster will be compensated. D. The insured's taxpayer identification number. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is the insured's taxpayer identification number because Rhode Island law does not require that information in a public adjuster contract. Rhode Island statutes mandate the inclusion of the adjuster's name and license number, description of services, and compensation method. Reason A is not correct. The adjuster's name and license number must be included by statutory requirement. Reason B is not correct. A description of services is mandated to inform the insured of the adjuster's responsibilities. Reason C is not correct. Compensation method disclosure is required to ensure transparency and avoid undisclosed fees. Question 14. Under Rhode Island regulations, an insured may cancel a public adjuster contract within how many business days after the date of execution? A. 7 calendar days. B. 5 business days. C. 3 business days. D. 10 calendar days. The correct answer is C. Insureds have a 3 business day right to cancel a public adjuster contract after execution, during which they may rescind without penalty as required by state law. Reason A is not correct. Rhode Island specifies business days rather than a 7 calendar day period. Reason B is not correct. The cancellation period is shorter than 5 business days under Rhode Island law. Reason D is not correct. There's no 10 calendar day cancellation window for public adjuster contracts in Rhode Island. Question 15. According to Rhode Island law, what fee may a public adjuster charge if no recovery is obtained from an insurer? A. An administrative fee not exceeding 5% of the claimed amount. B. No fee of any kind. C. A flat fee up to 2% of the policy limit. D. Cost for document preparation only. The correct answer is B. Rhode Island law prohibits public adjusters from charging any fee if they do not secure a recovery on behalf of the insured, ensuring no cost is borne when there is no benefit. Reason A is not correct. There is no allowance for an administrative fee if recovery is not obtained. Reason C is not correct. Rhode Island does not permit a flat fee when no recovery occurs. Reason D is not correct. Even document preparation costs cannot be charged without a successful recovery. Question 16. A public adjuster in Rhode Island had an insured execute the fee contract on Tuesday, July 2nd. and then mailed a fully executed copy to the insured on Thursday, July 11th. Under Rhode Island regulations governing furnishing executed contracts, which of the following is accurate? A. The adjuster violated the requirement because a copy must be furnished within 5 business days. B. The adjuster satisfied the requirement because a copy was mailed within 10 calendar days. C. The adjuster satisfied the requirement because the copy was mailed within 15 calendar days. D. The adjuster violated the requirement because a copy must be delivered at the time of signing. The correct answer is A. Rhode Island law requires that a public adjuster furnish a fully executed copy of any engagement contract to the insured within 5 business days of execution. Mailing on July 11th is 6 business days after July 2nd, resulting in non-compliance. Reason B is not correct. Rhode Island uses a business day time frame rather than a 10 calendar day allowance. Reason C is not correct. Rhode Island statute specifies 5 business days, not 15 calendar days. Reason D is not correct. Immediate delivery at signing is not required. The statute allows up to 5 business days. Question 17. While adjusting a fire claim in Providence, a Rhode Island public adjuster recommended that the insured award the repair contract to the adjuster's spouse's roofing company without disclosing the relationship or offering other bids. Under Rhode Island ethical standards, which of the following best describes this conduct? A. Unlawful because it constitutes self-dealing and a conflict of interest. B. Permissible if the service fees are reasonable and in the insured's interest. C. Allowed provided the insured gave verbal consent to the recommendation. D. Unlawful only if the spouse's company lacked a contractor's license. The correct answer is A. Rhode Island regulations require public adjusters to act solely in the insured's interest and avoid any undisclosed self-dealing. Recommending a spouse's firm without disclosure or alternative bids violates these standards. Reason B is not correct. Even reasonable fees cannot excuse an undisclosed familial interest in business referrals. Reason C is not correct. Verbal consent does not satisfy the requirement for written disclosure of conflicts. Reason D is not correct. Conflict arises regardless of the licensing status of the spouse's firm. Question 18. A public adjuster licensed in Rhode Island also owned a local contracting firm. While settling a residential fire loss, the adjuster contracted repair work through his firm and received payment from both the insurer for adjusting services and from the insured for the repairs. Under Rhode Island law, which statement is correct? A. The conduct was permitted because the adjuster disclosed his ownership interest before contracting repairs. B. The adjuster violated regulations prohibiting engagement in repair contracting while adjusting and dual compensation. C. It was allowed provided separate files for adjustment and repair were maintained. D. It was permissible if the adjuster refunded the insurer's adjustment fee. The correct answer is B. Rhode Island prohibits public adjusters from engaging in repair contracting for losses they are adjusting and from receiving dual compensation. Disclosure, file separation, or refunds do not override this prohibition. Reason A is not correct. Disclosure alone does not permit adjusters to contract repairs on claims they handle. Reason C is not correct. Maintaining separate files does not circumvent the prohibition on repair contracting. Reason D is not correct. Refunding fees does not cure the violation of dual compensation and repair contracting ban. Question 19. Under Rhode Island law, which event specifically triggers the operation of the Rhode Island Property and Casualty Insurance Guarantee Association? A. Suspension of a member insurer's license for failure to file required financial statements. B. Issuance of a certificate of insolvency by the Rhode Island Commissioner of Insurance for a member insurer. C. Approval of a member's assessment plan by the National Organization of Life and Health Guarantee Associations. D. Receipt by the commissioner of an insurer's bankruptcy petition filed in federal court. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is issuance of a state-level certificate of insolvency, which is the statutory event that activates the Guarantee Association under Rhode Island law. Reason A is not correct. License suspension for missing financial statements does not fulfill the statutory insolvency certificate requirement. Reason C is not correct. National Assessment Plan approvals are unrelated to State Guarantee Association activation triggers. Reason D is not correct. A federal bankruptcy petition does not substitute for the state-issued certificate of insolvency needed to trigger the association. Question 20. When a member insurer becomes insolvent in Rhode Island, what role does the Property and Casualty Insurance Guarantee Association primarily serve? A. Serves as general reinsurance for insolvent insurers to offset unpaid premium balances. B. Acts as insurer of last resort by assuming payment obligations under covered policies up to statutory limits. C. Provides unlimited indemnification for all policy liabilities without any statutory cap. D. Manages the rehabilitation process of insolvent insurers under court supervision. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that the Guarantee Association steps in to pay covered claims up to the statutory maximum once a member insurer is insolvent, acting as insurer of last resort. Reason A is not correct. The association is not a reinsurance mechanism. It directly handles claim payments rather than offsetting premiums. Reason C is not correct. Statute imposes payment limits. The association cannot provide unlimited indemnification. Reason D is not correct. Rehabilitation proceedings are overseen by regulatory authorities, not the Guarantee Association. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.